Llangollen Canal is a popular destination for boaters, walkers and cyclists. It's home to not one but two aqueducts. The smaller of the two at Chirk is no less significant, and it's here where today's story is based. Surprisingly, it's not about the aqueduct itself or the viaduct beyond. It's about the cottages that sit alongside the canal. The architecture typically features local stone, with many houses displaying characteristic elements like steep pitched roofs and small gardens. Over the years, the cottages have evolved from their original purpose, with many now serving as holiday rentals or private homes. Their proximity to the canal and the scenic countryside has made them popular with visitors, contributing to the area's charm and appeal. There are 6 cottages here, built in around the 1870s and likely to have been occupied by people who worked on the aqueduct and the nearby railway. This property behind me was probably occupied by the canal foreman. Notable for its traditional lamppost and expansive, meticulously kept gardens for decades, the cottage is now boarded up, its exterior grown out and impenetrable, less than a decade after it was sold with approval for extension works. Save Britain's Heritage have marked Cartriff, that's the name of this cottage behind me, as on their at-risk register. It's campaigning for preservation. They cite its exceptional location, stating there can hardly be a more picturesque site. At a sharp curve over Chirk Aqueduct, the cottage once witnessed the world's tallest aqueduct until Thomas Telford's Ponticlisilti surpassed it 4 years later. This and the other 5 properties sit on top of a 60-foot high spoil mound left from cutting into the hillside for the canal, indicating the monumental scale of excavation completed during that era. An earthwork platform between cottages 3 and 4 was likely to be significant as being the yard for the aqueduct construction. Each cottage boasted a toilet, something unheard of in the day, and a pigsty at the end of the garden. By the 1900s, Cartriff was home to Evan Baines, his wife Jane, and their 11 children. The property remained in the Baines family for generations. A rule back in the day meant that it only could be passed to family members. Eventually the house was sold on. Its most notable resident was Neville Herdsman, a Chirk barber and postman who became the town's inaugural historian. With his publication A History of the Parish of Chirk, he was also known for his other passion, that of gardening. In September 1998, the cottage was purchased for £55,000. When the Llangollen Canal and its aqueduct were being considered for World Heritage Site in 2007, Cartriff was stated as being in a good state of conservation, suggesting that the building had maintained its authenticity, remaining close to its original condition. The property experienced a sharp increase in its value to £201,000 by May 2015. This was partly due to planning permission that had been granted to build an extension to the rear of the property, extending the kitchen and adding an additional bedroom. Suddenly the development came to a halt. Local residents suggested subsidence due to the spoil mound collapsing. Thankfully, the other 5 cottages appear to be on a much broader part of the embankment and don't seem to be in as much jeopardy. Cartriff's old garage is now scarcely visible through the tangle of vegetation. It lies a stone's throw away from the Wales-England border, thus falling under the governance of Shropshire Council. In June 2022, the council issued a notice over an untidy garden, mandating its restoration to an acceptable condition. By that time, Cartriff had already been described as derelict and uninhabitable for numerous years. Plate pilings installed to stabilise the embankment were ineffective, and Cartriff is in the perilous state of potentially falling into the river below. A local resident lamented that it would cost a fortune to try and repair it, and that it was going to slip down the hill into the river below. The cost would be enormous, they said. A beautiful home and location, but who really would have the money? Unfortunately, although this is a World Heritage Site, Cartriff itself is not a listed building, and so it's not on a listed register. Therefore, the council can't help. It's obviously completely empty at the moment. The local authority is aware of the situation and has been in touch with the owner, but sadly due to financial constraints, they're unable to continue any work. Andrew Wigley, Policy and Environment Service Manager at Shropshire Council, said, "Shropshire Council remains concerned about the condition of 6 Aqueduct Cottage and the impact it is having upon the amenity of this part of the World Heritage Site. We remain committed to seeking a resolution to this situation, although in the first instance we are seeking to persuade the owner to fulfil their obligations and responsibilities in this respect. Shropshire Council is not responsible for the wider embankment and has no powers it can use to address the subsidence that is said to be affecting it. This would likely sit with the Canal and River Trust as the body that manages and maintains the canal." So over to you. What do you think should happen to this once beautiful cottage? Let me know in the comments below.